3D Woody from the Toy Story Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi everybody, in today's video I'm going to be showing you the first of a two-part quick little series that is going to be Toy Story themed. This one is Woody. Tomorrow it's going to be Mr. Buzz Lightyear, so come back and check for that. The other thing that's exciting about this video is that this is the first part of my Summer of Giveaways little thing that I have going on. So there's going to be a giveaway every month. This one is going to be June's, and I will be giving away both this design, this little Woody design, and tomorrow's Buzz Lightyear design. So there will be two winners, and all you have to do to win the giveaway is that you have to be subscribed to my channel, like this video, and comment. Commenting is very important because I will be using a random comment selector to figure out who's going to be the winner chicken dinner. And for the winners, you get to choose how you want the design, if you want it to be made into a pendant for a necklace, into a ring, or just to have the nail as it is. So don't forget to comment and like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
So I'm going to begin with an overlay of a soft white acrylic, and this is actually a mix that I made by about a 50% or 50-50 ratio of white acrylic and clear. It makes it so it's not quite so stark white, it's just a little bit, you know, like a soft white in the background. After I have that background layer, I'm going to encase the nail with a layer of clear acrylic to make sure that it is nice and strong. You could probably just stick with that soft white combo that you have if you have one similar to mine that's a strong product. But I always encase mine, so I, stick with what I do. And I'm going to file it into shape with my E-file, starting out with a very coarse bit to remove any bulk, and then switching to a finer bit to get rid of any little scratches or scuff marks that first file possibly left behind. So now with a cover pink acrylic, I'm going to be sculpting out his face and his neck. And then I'm going to use some brown acrylic to add his hair and his hat. And this cover pink acrylic that I'm using is not very opaque at all, and eventually you'll see later in the video I ended up painting over it entirely just because these characters, as they're toys, they don't have this realistic, fleshy, semi-translucent look that human skin does. So it didn't look right. And I was painting it and I was working and I'm like, this just doesn't look right. So if you have an opaque tan color, that would definitely be better. Otherwise, you can do what I did and just paint over the whole thing later on. Definitely works. But since you want them to have that plastic appearance, you want to use something that is very opaque for all of his little pieces here. So I've got that little bit of hair on the side of his face, and then I'm going to be working on his hat. And his hair and his hat aren't the same shade of brown if you look at any photos. They're not the same. However, if you don't have a bajillion shades of brown, you just have the one, you can color correct those with paint later too. That's the one thing that I always think of when I'm working on something with acrylic, is that the color that the acrylic is at this stage it's good to have something that's correct. It's not necessary to have something that's correct. And you can always really easily mix paint if you are used to using acrylic paint. It's so simple to just fix things up by painting over the top of them, which is something that I have some peace of mind knowing. Then I'm going to take another layer of that cover pink acrylic, and I'm going to be adding his facial features. Even if you are planning on painting over it like I am, but you have a cover pink, I would use that instead of, say, using a white or, any other color that you could possibly think of, for a couple reasons. One, it sculpts a little bit better, so you can get these beautiful little details like his nose sticking out a little bit easier with that, just because of the way cover pinks are. They have a little bit, they're a little bit more poofy, at least the ones that I've used, than some 3D sculpting powders. So that's one thing that's good to use about a cover pink. And the other thing is that it's similar to the color that you're going to be painting on top of it, so that if some shows through, it's not a big deal. Like if it was a white color that you were going to be using underneath and then painting on top of, you would have to be very meticulous about covering every little bit of that white, where if it's a color that's really close, you don't have to be nearly as cautious about that. So, you want to be as close as you can with the color, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Then I'm going to be taking a little bit of red acrylic and add the little scarf or bandana that's around his neck. Just a little bit, like so. It doesn't really show all of that much. It's just kind of like a hint of that red going around. But then he also has his little yellow shirt. If you want to, you can go through and you can sculpt his vest that's on top of his shirt as well. I didn't want to add all of that thickness at the tip of my nail. That's one thing that I kind of try to avoid at sometimes because it makes it harder to pick things up. So I did that with paint, which you will see in a moment. So now I'm going to begin doing all of my outlining. And I'm going to be doing the outlining with brown first, and I'm going to do like around his head and do some of his facial features with brown instead of going straight to black. I did some black outlining later, and I'm doing some now. I'm shading in his hat a little bit with black. So I'm kind of blending some of my black and my brown to create nice little shadows around his head, which is going to just make the 3D pop out a little bit better and make it even more dimensional in appearance. Add some more of that black-brown combo shading around on the top of his hat, so not just on the brim, but around the whole thing. Then add some red tones to his hair. So instead of just going like with a brown, you can just add like little flecks of a burgundy color, and that will warm up his hair color so effortlessly. Now I'm going to be doing his facial features, and I'm going to be outlining those with brown. And at this point, if you, like I said, I didn't realize that I needed to paint over it until I got a little bit farther, and I'm like, this looks weird. And then I decided to paint over the whole thing. It would be good to paint over it prior to starting to outline the facial features. Otherwise, you have to try to go around them, and it just makes it a little bit more taxing. Either way, though, it really does work. And if you guys, I didn't actually show in this video, I didn't record painting over the whole thing. It was kind of one of those frustrated artist moments where I just painted over it really quick. And I was like, I need to cover this up. And I didn't get it on camera because it was just one of those things. On the Buzz Lightyear design that I will be uploading tomorrow, you do see how you can do that color correction with the paint, because I was like, I need to do it to this one too, because they both have that plastic appearance. Anyhoozle. You're going to need to fill in Woody's eyes with white, and then fill in his mouth with black. After you have his mouth filled in, that's just the very first part of it, so that when you fill in his teeth, or you add his teeth, there's not a weird gap between them. It's all blacked out already. So then just take very, very thin lines of white and add little stripes for his teeth. Just like so. And neither of these characters really have much for lips per se, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. Just make sure that they've got nice big smiles and they look nice and happy. A little bit of shadowing around their mouth is all they need, especially for their little smile lines. You want all these characters to look super happy and, happy to be alive, even though they're not, even though they're toys, they're happy to be alive. Add brown for his eyes, little bits of black, like so. Outlines around his clothing. So I took some red paint and I brightened up the bandana just a little bit, so you just have to kind of add little highlights on there. And then on his shirt, I took more of the brown acrylic paint that I'm using, and I added just the little checkered pattern that's on there really quick. A couple little dashed lines is all you need for that. A couple of black outlines to really define all of those clothing bits. There's not much there. It's really just a little bit. Depending, if this is a longer nail, you may have more of that showing, but otherwise. Then I'm going to take white and add those little bits of the top of his vest, and then just kind of swirl in some black paint before the white dries, and that'll give you that sort of a cowhide appearance. Then apply some gel sealer over the background. Some matte top coat over Woody, and that's it. I hope you guys like this design, and if you do, please comment. This is an international giveaway, and I would be more than happy to count as many people as I can, so please comment and all of that fun stuff, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!